Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, episode number 166 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So, creating wealth can often seem like such a hot topic. We want to feel stable, we want to feel free, and most of all, we want to feel like we're succeeding in life. Yet, what is wealth? Do we even know what this thing is that feels so elusive? And so today's podcast is for you to really consider your wealth mindset. How do you create your own understanding of wealth so that you can start to live your own version of a wealthy life and have that stability, the freedom, and the success that you desire? So I am outside right now in Baja, so recording this live and trying to give you a bit of some of the insights that are coming through as I think about what it means to me when I travel, when I go places, when I spend money on things myself. So if you hear a little bit of wind, that's why. Um, so thanks for your patience. So let's talk about wealth. Most people associate wealth with money and lots of it, like not just the kind of money that helps you get by and to save some, but so much that you feel like you have these options in life. So I've given a lot of thought to this concept of generational wealth because as a first generation American, I've seen the benefits of wealth that have been passed down through my own parents. And there are opportunities that I wouldn't have been afforded if they didn't exist before me and were planted by my parents before me. And if I didn't receive the benefits of what they did themselves to create wealth. So the reason I think it's important is because I think especially when you immigrate and you come from parents that have immigrated, there's this concept of like, why? Why do people go to a different place? Why do people seek a different life? Why do people go and find different opportunities? And then how do they start that process of creating something almost from scratch? And even though there are systemic differences in the opportunities that we are afforded, I want us to think of no matter where we are, we have an opportunity to build wealth, to feel wealthy, and to be in a financial situation that we feel proud of, and to be able to create wealth for ourselves and for our future generations. Yet, oftentimes, when we start to think about wealth and having more, and the sense of can it be something that feels so abundant and relaxed and at ease and fulfilling, we feel conflicted. We often feel like there's all these decisions that we have to make in order for us to have that kind of wealth. Do we have to live a life where we have very little time for our passions or for ourselves? Do we have to have inherited money from parents or other people in our families to make it in these high cost living areas? Do you have to have gotten lucky or made some great investments? So these are all the questions that run through our heads at any given moment, these assumptions of what it takes to be wealthy. But what if I told you that wealth was more than just a financial equation? What if wealth was the feeling deep down into your bones of what that financial freedom and that financial stability gives you, which is this feeling of enough? And we often feel like it's not enough. We have not enough of something somewhere in our lives, either time or money. And sometimes we feel like we have all the time in the world, but we don't have enough money to do the things we want to do. Or other times we'll find ourselves with lots of money, but feeling like we have no time to enjoy the money. And we'll feel like at other times a lack of both. Maybe we feel like I don't have time and I don't have money to show for it. And so I remember when I was starting out working a 9 to 5, it didn't feel like a 9 to 5 because I would work a lot more than those hours and I didn't have a lot of money or time. Yet it felt like enough because I was saving at least 10 to 20% of my salary. I'd take one big vacation a year and I'd do lots of little trips other than that. Travel was always a priority. I'd give lots of gifts. I was very clear early on why I wanted money. I remember telling a friend of mine, you know what, if I made more money, the reason I want more money is so I can give more people more things. I really love gift giving. And I also remember telling another friend, hey, if I had enough money to be able to just go to Whole Foods and just buy what I want and not think about the price, that would feel like enough money too. I remember even in my first studio apartment, I would buy this like one beautiful flower a week and put it in a vase or a vase and have that be like that bit of luxury in my life. And so I thought a lot about money. I thought a ton about it. I thought about whether or not I was saving enough of it. I made spreadsheets. I tracked my spending. To me, money was like power, the choice, the freedom to do what I want to do. And I remember that I'd invested that 20% of my salary very early on, and it was a good move. I think it's fascinating how they don't teach personal finance in school. I had a friend that actually um, encouraged me to make those savings early on, and I was reading my own financial kind of empowerment kind of books. So I started early on doing that. And I found it was so beneficial to have that awareness, to make these kinds of decisions for yourself that help you in the long run. And even then, there were the decisions of what is enough? What do I value? What do I want to spend my money on? I was making a salary of $48,000 out of undergrad, and I wanted to save up 100K, 100,000 for business school in 5 years. So that's a pretty large amount to save out of a salary like that. Obviously, I got some increases over the years, but it wasn't, like double, triple all of that of what I was initially making. And I got pretty close to saving that amount, which is amazing to think because there were also periods in my life where I felt it was so hard to save that amount and I was making so much more money. So even now, as I spend more and I make more money, I still consider if I spend money on what I value. And the answer is yes. But this was and it continues to be a practice. When we think about that wealth mindset, it's about practicing and refining how to make money, how to spend money, how to feel good about your life outside of money and the time that it takes, because it does take time develop this mindset is worthwhile, especially when you consider the practicality of things like compound interest, as well as developing any sort of skill. And managing your money and your mindset around money is a skill. And so time is on your side, but you need to get started now. We all know the benefits of compounding interest, where you're earning interest on both the amount you save, which is the principal, and the interest you earn, and how that helps you earn money using the power of time. And the key factor here is time is on your side. And when we don't feel like we have a lot of time or money, perhaps we actually have more than we realize. Small amounts add up over long periods of time. And one of the key mindset principles for wealth creation is to get started now. And this is really a any kind of creation hack, which is get started now, whether you have an idea or an investment in mind. When you start earlier, it helps you use time to your advantage. You will, no matter what you pursue, make mistakes the same way that the market has to bear corrections. When time is on your side, when you pursue a variety of things, but really in a determined and focused way, you can weather these corrections. And there's a rule of 72 that's helpful as an analogy. So, depending on the rate of interest you're assuming, you can approximate how long it takes for you to double your money. And if you assume, for example, that you have a 10% annual rate of return, you would double your money in 7.2 years. So you take 72 divided by the rate of return, and that gives you the amount of time that it would take for you to double your money at that rate. So if you assume, for example, a 6% rate of return, annual rate of return, you double your money in 12 years, right? So either way, it doubles without you doing anything. Like you did not do something to double your money. You just put the money in and let things happen. So when we think about how that occurs, we think about how quickly our lives can change when we put forth some consistent effort early on towards a goal or an idea. It can be as dramatic as that doubling concept. More effort, more consistently, over time leads to more results more quickly. And for practical purposes, this is why investing as much as you can, 10 to 20%, for example, early on in low cost index funds is encouraged for you to have the money you desire when you retire. And this type of set it and forget it approach is not about trying to time the market, beat something, hustle really hard. And those kind of principles are the basics of personal finance. And it seems obvious, but I want to encourage you to actually see how it's very different from how humans want to behave, right? Humans want to just go after this big thing randomly now at this point in time when my emotions are really high and my intelligence is low versus a pragmatic, sustainable, strategic approach, which will influence all aspects of your life, including your wealth. So when you think about the basics of a wealth mindset, right? So those are the basics of personal finance. But the basics of a wealth mindset, these are things around money that are more than how much money you have. It's about considering questions like how much money do you want to have? How do you want to earn your money? What do you think money is for? And how much is enough? So, for you to become wealthy, you have to break free from the paradigm that keeps us always feeling stuck, the one of not enough. Yet there's no magic formula for you to follow. There is a formula that you, only you design. You decide, regardless of whatever is around you and who's around you, what matters most. You stick to it, you're ruthless in your pursuit of your ideals, and that forces you to live out your wealth. It forces you to discover what you think makes you feel free and happy, and what actually does. And I've discovered that there is a certain amount of freedom that money will never buy the freedom of how I spend my time to be with my kids or my family at certain places and in certain situations. And if money was the only motivating factor, I would have chosen hundreds of other things at multiple points in my life. And the reason this matters is because you will, at points in your life, choose things that make you feel like you don't have enough. You will see your income drop. You will see your time drop. You will see your savings drop. I promise you, all of these things are going to occur. When you're not sure why it drops, this is when you stop doing what matters and change your mind. And then you forget that this is why you chose it because it matters and because you made a commitment. And when you lose that commitment, you don't see the results as quickly as you desire. You panic, you pull out of essentially imagine you pulling out of the investments instead of forgetting about it and letting it ride and knowing that it's just the natural course of life to have dips and valleys and dips and valleys and peaks as well. So you will not see the results you desire because you're just half in and you're half out. And usually if you use like your own brain that is not primed for emotional self-management, you will tend to make decisions that are not in your favor. And so I know this through experience, through working with many people on these topics as they make big decisions about their life that create drops in income for sometimes what feels like a long period of time, but they're purposely choosing paths and situations that are a little higher risk. And if you told them to go get that steady job that feels super boring to them, they would not want to do it. Yet that was always a choice, and that continues to be a choice. And so, anytime that you decide to make these kind of different moves, you start to understand that this is a choice that you're making and that you can be prepared. So, when I did this for myself, it was when I invested lots of money and I was preparing myself for it, right? When I didn't prepare myself for investing lots of money, I saw the income drop, I saw the savings drop, and I saw it as a signal that something has gone wrong. Instead of I'm following the plan, and the plan includes this break in growth, this break in money being the only driving factor. And also, not believing that at some point the money would come back because I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I want to encourage you. It's almost like the world of karma and the law of energy, which is that if you give way more than you get, you will get. I promise you, you will get 10x of what you give. But if you're constantly giving, constantly trying to put things out there that are helpful to the world, to yourself, to others around you, there is no way that the universe doesn't come back, that people don't recognize it, that organizations, places, things don't value those things because that which supports life is also supported. So if you don't have that wealth mindset of a generous, giving version of yourself that is able to weather all of the drops down to the most basic one, you will start to think that something has gone wrong. And instead of doing the things that light up your soul, that also give you money, that also give you a home and something to eat and a place to call your own, and shelter and provide for your family, you will start to see yourself as making these really binary zero sum choices. I either do this or we're sleeping on the street somewhere. And that is not the case. So when I wasn't following these mindset principles, I would drop out of it and I'd feel lost. I'd feel confused. I'd feel like there were 1,000 decisions that I could be making and I didn't know which one was right. And I felt that all of them were going to be bad. So when you have that feeling come over you, just know that you're not in that wealth mindset. You can always come back. That wealth mindset is a mindset of choice. It is a mindset of decisions. It is a mindset of following through on the decisions that you have made to see what happens next as a result. The only reason you're not sure what's next is because you haven't decided what is next. And so the wealth that you desire, the wealth in your body, the wealth in your time, the wealth in the amount of money that you have is born from all of the seeds that you planted yesterday, a moment ago, 10 seconds ago, a breath ago, about who you are becoming when you make that decision, recommitting, redeciding to stay on your path, whether it is a path to change, a path to figure out, a path to just understand yourself better, a path to answer these questions. It's a path about discovering who's that person who's deciding these things. And you can be a person that is going to decide that you're going to find a way to be unreasonably happy, unreasonably grateful, unreasonably determined, and you're going to do unreasonably amazing things that help you become this unreasonably wealthy person. And in the process, achieve all of this, what feels like who has the business, who are you to do this? And that level of audacity kind of life is that wealth mindset. And I wish it for all of you. Most importantly, I know it is possible. All right. So if you want to continue to dig in through this and help create your own level of wealth, this month's class that I'm teaching in the Spiritual Achiever Coaching Program is going to be diving into the wealth mindset. So I encourage you to join on in You can get the replay. If you don't catch it live, it will be live on July 12th. And I will be teaching on these principles and what you can actually tactically do in your life, the different levers that you can pull for wealth, and how to start getting really grounded on what that means to you so you stop feeling that sense of not enough. So join on in. If you want to learn more, go to www.mayemson.com/contact and book a consult. The reason it matters is because the earlier you get started on at least figuring out some of these questions that you have in your life, the earlier you will figure out how to have the wealth, health, and the love that you desire. Also, I have a free Summer of Magic workshop that will help you get clear on how to spend your time this summer, the mindset shifts that you can use in any season, and the things that I've used to personally create a life where I feel that I have everything that I want and need, and I'm still reaching for more because it is fun. So get on that. The link is in the show notes that you're going to find in this podcast, or you can go to mayemson.com summer/summer of magic. All right. I also want to share with you that I have a retreat that I am really excited to be hosting. It is in Benicia, New York, in the Catskill Mountains on August 7th to 11th. We'll be helping you think through that next leg of your journey and your career. So imagine that you get to walk out knowing what is next, knowing what that roadmap is, and actually getting started on it. So I'm bringing you the Career Revelation Academy in live form. You'll also have access to it digitally as well. How to actually make a career change or love where you're at even more in 30 days. So get on in, go to www.mayemson.com/contact, and you can learn more and how to book your spot. I love you, my friends. I hope you have an amazing week. I am sending you lots of love from Baja. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.